Ну что ж, насколько я вижу, стрим пошел. Друзья, пожалуйста, подтвердите, что меня видно, меня слышно, что с технической стороны у нас все хорошо, и мы можем начинать. Поставьте в чате, пожалуйста, плюсики. Тогда я буду видеть, что у нас все хорошо. Ага, понеслась. Вижу. Спасибо. Здрасте. Здрасте всем. Немножко контекста. Меня зовут Андрей. Кто не знает, кто первый раз у нас на канале «Записки композера». Я композер из Framestore. В свободное время провожу курсы по Nuke. Делюсь своими знаниями и стараюсь помочь другим композерам разобраться в этом деле и улучшить свои скиллы. Сегодня у нас необычный стрим. Если вы были до этого на канале, то вы знаете, что у меня есть определенное количество туторов, которые я записывал по Nuke, и они лежат в открытом доступе. Но сегодняшний стрим будет скорее не о Nuke как таковом, а о композе. Сегодня, по сути, не тутор. Сегодня, по сути, скажем так, немножко вырезанное из формата занятия. Сегодня реальное занятие моего курса. Начиная с сентября у нас стартовал курс, который называется Nuke, студийный композ с профессионалами. И в рамках этого курса студентам предоставляется возможность скомпозить 4 шота, которые еще недавно были в производстве, набраться опыта и дополнительно пообщаться с композерами, так сказать, с забугорными композерами, то есть с ребятами, у которых значительно больше опыта, задать им вопросы и вот в такой способ также попробовать расширить свои скиллы. Отдельно хотелось бы поблагодарить студию Трехмер Films за то, что предоставила материал, и с помощью именно этого материала появилась такая возможность, с одной стороны, композерам больше попрактиковаться, а с другой стороны, например, сейчас вам также принять участие в открытом занятии и позадавать вопросы, в частности, сегодняшнему нашему гостю. Сегодняшний наш гость – это Wouter Gilsing. Это композер, который также работает во Framestore. О себе он подробнее еще расскажет. Наше сегодняшнее занятие будет состоять из 3 блоков. В первом блоке наш гость расскажет о себе, расскажет свою историю. Во втором блоке мы поговорим о композе, о шотах. И в третьем блоке у нас с вами будет возможность поотвечать, так сказать, позадавать вопросы Wouter'у и послушать ответы на эти вопросы. Еще раз напомню, мы сейчас с вами, по сути, находимся в рамках курса. Поэтому основной акцент будет сделан на работе именно со студентами, именно с их работой. Но поскольку у нас занятие открытое, вы также будете наблюдать, смотреть, как это все происходит. И в самом конце, когда мы перейдем к третьему блоку, когда мы начнем задавать вопросы Wouter'у, вот тогда уже вы, как активные слушатели, также будете иметь возможность позадавать свои вопросы. Надеюсь, это будет интересно. Я очень надеюсь, что это также будет для вас познавательно. По-моему, все. Ну, 2 слова еще скажу по поводу курса, который сейчас непосредственно идет. Идея следующая. На каждый шот, мы имеем 4 шота в рамках одного курса, выделяется 3 занятия. На первом занятии мы разбираем, как композить шот. На втором занятии в рамках так называемого дейлиза мы проверяем работу, я проверяю работу, как она была сделана каждым студентом. И третье занятие, а сегодня, по сути, третье занятие, мы проводим в рамках того же дейлиза, но уже супервайзю не я, супервайзит приглашенный гость. Сегодня третий блок заканчивается, то есть сегодня мы разбираем аж третий шот. У нас еще одна неделя впереди с ребятами с курса будет, но поскольку Wouter личность достаточно знаменитая, я решил такой небольшой подарочек сделать и провести это открытое занятие, чтобы вы также поучаствовали и поняли, может быть, в чем основная польза, в чем основной интерес. и насколько ценна может быть информация от практикующего композера из большой иностранной студии. По-моему, на этом все. Пока что на этом все. Давайте перейдем к непосредственно занятию. Сразу хочу предупредить, большая часть нашего занятия будет на английском, потому что Wouter русского не знает. Лучше... Да нет, я думаю, вообще ничего не знает на русском. Поэтому большая часть будет на английском. Кто с английским не совсем знаком, прошу прощения. Ну что ж, давайте начнем. Okay, Wouter, we are starting.
Yes, English.
Yes, now it's English. Okay, so I already explained to guys about our structure. So
Yes.
we will have 3 blocks. And now I just want to give you an opportunity to describe your story. So tell us about yourself. What is your story? You can
Yeah,
start.
sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. Hi, everyone. So my name is Wouter Gilsing, and I'm from the Netherlands. I currently work at Framestore, as I'm sure Android just told you already. I grew up in the Netherlands, and I think it's probably just a good idea just to start at the beginning. Please let me know if it's a bit too long and boring, but
I'll let you know, man. No worries.
I think the very first my first encounter with visual effects was probably Photoshop around the age of 11, I think. Before that, I was drawing a lot. I really like drawing. Try to draw realistic things, and then I came across Photoshop, which had a Control Z, which I thought was super awesome because you could undo and just keep trying till it looked good. So I stuck to Photoshop for a very long time, mainly just doing bullshitty things like photoshopping the heads of my friends into movie posters, making weird images, stuff like that. Just fooling around with all kinds of stuff. But at the same time, I was really interested in film as well. So whenever I watched the DVD, this was the time when DVD started coming up. So on the DVD, you usually would have some extra scenes, like bonus materials, like the behind the scenes stuff, which I really, really liked, especially the visual effects stuff, because that's pretty much where, as a kid, you can watch the movies and you don't understand how stuff is made.
Yeah.
You watch the DVD, and then they show you the sets, so you know, okay, well they build all the sets and stuff like that. But then they show you the visual effects, and it's still kind of magical because this is just one guy behind the computer. At least that was what I thought, and he was doing like the visual effects and making all the cool stuff. And especially the DVDs for the Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure if you've seen those. They had like loads of extra materials, because usually it was like a few minutes for visual effects, but that DVD from the Lord of the Rings really had like hours of stuff on behind the scenes. So there was a time where I watched that DVD like all the time when I got out of school, just because I thought it was so interesting, and they were showing like little snippets of the interface. So I was really into that stuff. So I wanted to do that as well. So I started a bit fooling around with Windows Movie Maker at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just importing something that I filmed on a camcorder that I had, just editing it, not even doing visual effects. And at the same time, this was in high school. I think I was probably 13. We had this thing which was called the video group, or the film group. Like every high school, you have stuff like Christmas musicals, you know, like little plays with the students. And we had this film group, and what we were doing, we were recording those events.
Okay.
And then later on cutting them and burning them on a DVD for everyone to watch, like the actors that played in in the musical, stuff like that. So there was like a little bit of editing as well. And as I mentioned, I was pretty young at the time. I was like 13, but there were also more senior students, so guys that were like in the last year of high school, like 17, something like that, 17, 18, and they were playing around with 3ds Max,
Oh,
which I thought
okay.
was pretty nice as well. So they taught me a bit of modeling, and I'm not sure if you have ever played. Have you used 3ds Max before?
I have never, but I saw.
Yeah, well, there's pretty cool dynamics as well. So I
Okay.
was playing around with ragdolls and just trying to do everything a little bit, which I really enjoyed. And at the same time, also I was still doing Photoshop, and I was using Premiere to edit all my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that you could do like blue screens in Premiere. So when I found out about After Effects, which was pretty much like Photoshop but for film, like the image was complete pretty much. So I started doing a lot of After Effects, and I was I was growing a little bit older, so I was around 14, 15 at the time, and I was looking more into like these DVDs that I mentioned before, like what are the big guys, like the guys that made Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. What
Mm-hmm.
software are they using? Are they using After Effects as well? Are they using 3ds Max? So I was looking more into that stuff, and I thought, okay, I want to be. I was pretty sure at that time that I wanted to do something like that as well, because I thought it was so cool. So I started looking more into that, and I found out like, okay, well, I'm using 3ds Max, which is pretty good apparently, but the guys on the Lord of the Rings, they used Maya, so I
Uh-huh.
should Maya as well. So I started learning Maya, and yeah, I was just doing weird videos with my friends, mainly inspired by movies that I liked, which
Uh-huh.
were pretty much like three big film series. It's like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Pirates of the Caribbean. I really like those three film series.
Uh-huh.
So I was just trying to replicate stuff, doing stuff at my own computer. Bought a newer camera so I could film some more stuff, doing my own things. But at the same time, I also had to look forward to what I wanted to do after high school. So yeah, I was pretty sure that I really liked the film thing. So I started looking around, and in the Netherlands you have one big film school, which is the Film Academy,
Okay.
which is Amsterdam. Yeah, so I started going to those like introduction days when I was 15. I would still be at the high school till I was like 18, but at that point I knew, okay, I want to go to that school. So I started like preparing more for it, like building a portfolio, doing more shorter videos, keep watching tutorials. I was still using After Effects at the time, and Maya mainly.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to train myself and prepare myself to be accepted into the Film Academy, because they had a pretty strong, I should say, like, yeah, there was a pretty heavy selection round,
Oh,
and
really?
only 10 people they would allow. And I was kind of kind of scared, because from what I heard, most of the people that were there were a bit older, like 20, 23, 25. And I was only 18 at the time of the admission, or 17 actually. So yeah, so as I said, I was kind of scared, but I really wanted to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a lot of time in it, and eventually I got accepted into it. So I moved to Amsterdam, because I lived in a smaller village in the middle. So yeah, when I was 18, I moved to Amsterdam and started at a film academy, which is a 4-year course, by the way. So it's 4 years.
Years.
Yeah. And the first year, I should say, it's not only visual effects, at least if you take the whole film academy. So you have different departments. So for example, you have, well, obviously visual effects, but also you have directors, you have
Okay.
sound people, camera, screenwriters. So you pretty much have the whole crew in the academy. And the first year, so you apply for a specific direction. So I was a visual effects student, but you still, the first year at least, you still sit together with every other student as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you have lectures together. So I had like film history, genres, screenwriting. You get everything like a little bit. And then in the first year, there were like a few blocks, like 4 weeks at a time, I think, or maybe even 1 week, that you would do only what you can, your discipline. So you would only do visual effects, which was really cool. So we had a class, I think it was like 11 people. And at the end of the first year, we hadn't really done much visual effects, as I said, because that first year is so generic with all the other stuff as well.
Okay.
So I thought, this is really cool, but I want to do more visual effects. I want to keep moving forward. All this stuff is really interesting, but I want to do visual effects. So
Yeah.
I kept watching tutorials all the time. I found out about Nuke as well, because we were going to get an introduction course to Nuke at the end of the year. But I thought, I'm not going to wait till the end of the year. So I started watching tutorials and playing around myself with Nuke. So when the end of the year came, we had that introduction course, which was quite interesting. But I already gave myself an introduction pretty much.
Yeah.
And at that time, we had the summer break coming up after the first year, which was was really long summer break. It was like 10 weeks, I think.
Okay.
Maybe longer. So I thought, okay, I'm not gonna wait and do nothing for 10 weeks. I want to keep moving. So I sent an email to like every post-production house in Amsterdam, saying, hey, I'm a student at the Film Academy. I know Nuke, and I want a summer job. And no one responded, except for one company, and they said, yeah, you can. We don't really look. We're not really looking for someone as a summer job position, but we would take you as an intern.
Okay, what was the company?
This was Storm Post Productions in Amsterdam. So not the one. There's another one in Scandinavia, I think, but this is one in Amsterdam. So they do film, Dutch films, commercials, television series. It's pretty much everything. And they do grading, motion graphics, and also visual effects. So I went there for like 10 weeks as my first thing. Like no experience, but it was really cool because in the beginning, I think the way they looked at it is like, okay, he probably doesn't really know anything because he has no experience, so we will just see how it goes. But it went really well.
And they gave you a lot of masks, right?
Yes, there was quite a bit of easy work in the beginning, but still, after a while, I think I could, you can. It's a smaller company, so it's easier to prove yourself. So if you do something good, like everyone will know about it, right? If you work in a super big company, it's just you do your thing, and that's it. You do your thing.
Yes.
But if you work in a small team, you pretty much sit next to the supervisor, for example. It's like, oh yeah, sure. Can you do this? So I got some cooler work pretty quickly. So yeah, those 10 weeks, I think 10, 11 weeks were well spent. And then after that, I went back to school. And the second year at the Film Academy is not as generic as the first one. So then you really split up per department. And we as a visual effects class got our own room in the school. So you had your own desk with your own computer, pretty much like a visual effects studio. And then you got your visual effects assignments. So we had some 3D modeling, and then rigging, compositing. You got like everything a little bit. You were supposed to do everything. And then in every year, so your second, third, and fourth year, you're supposed to make a movie with a little crew. So you get a director, you get a screenwriter, and then in your second year, I think it's like you make a 5-minute movie, then you make a 10-minute movie, and then you make like a 15, 20-minute movie, and that's your graduation project. So that was pretty much the second year, and then the third year pretty much the same, except that the second half of the third year is supposed to be an internship. Actually, I should say in between my second and my third year, I went back to Storm because I really liked it the first time. So I thought, yeah, let's do this again in the summer break, make some extra money because you got like paid as well a bit.
Nice.
And this time I went back as, so first time I was an intern, and then now I was like in between intern and junior. So yeah, I went back there, did some more work, got some small Dutch film credits, and just gaining experience all the time.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Sorry, I have two questions about your university. So
Go ahead.
first one about professors, about teachers.
Yeah.
Was they like a practice artist, or it's like a theoretical artist? Did they work in industry?
Well, they were mainly Dutch, and well, they were all Dutch, but the film industry in the Netherlands is not really big, I would say. There's
Okay.
some post houses. It's a bit like television and Dutch films, and there's not that much money in Dutch films. So obviously, like the first thing you cut your budget is like visual effects. So hardly any visual effects in those movies. It's getting better now, but especially those teachers. Usually, you work in the industry and then you become a teacher, right? So considering like the visual effects industry in the Netherlands is going upwards because there's more money and visual effects is more accessible. I especially think that like when you were in visual effects before in the Netherlands, it's just that there wasn't really much visual effects. So those teachers, yeah, I think mainly their knowledge. They knew like stuff about Maya and Nuke, but no, it's not like they were compositors and they worked on big movies or something like that.
So probably they I don't know, maybe passed some exams like a authorized Maya trainer or something like this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And the second question is, what was the price for your 4 years education?
Actually, education in the Netherlands is really nice. So it's not like I'm not sure how it's in Russia, but for example, in America, right, you have like the private schools and you pay like a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
In the Netherlands, it's mainly like pretty much all education that's regulated by the government is the same price. So I think Film Academy was 1,600 euros per year.
1,600?
100, so 1,600 euros per year.
I'll be honest with you, I really don't know don't know university in Russia, government university that can prepare compositors or other students that can just start working in visual effect industry. We have some commercial schools, some kind of, but not government. So okay, interesting information.
Yeah, so most education, most universities in the Netherlands are like have some sort of government support. So including the Film Academy.
What's next?
Well, as I mentioned, like in your third year, like half of the third year is supposed to be your internship, which takes up like 5 months, and you can do that pretty much anywhere you want. It's up to the student to arrange the internship. So I thought, okay, I've done like 2 mini internships in Amsterdam, so now I want to go outside of the Netherlands because my dream was still like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings level stuff.
Yeah, the same stuff.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure like every visual effects artist has some sort of movies that trigger them. Like lots of people like Star Wars or Jurassic Park. Well, for me, it's Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, for me it was Harry Potter and Marvel movies. These two projects, yeah.
Yeah, Marvel movies came a bit after that, right?
Yeah, but when I started, it already that project were already in market.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, so I wanted to go to the like big boys and
Mm-hmm.
some more. So yeah, as you might expect, like finding an internship at a big studio is pretty hard. So I started sending like lots of emails as well to facilities in London, and I really wanted that full period, so those 5 months at one studio, just because it always takes a little bit of time to get used to a specific studio and to really like develop yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at the end, I ended up at Rice Effects in Berlin. Not sure if you heard of them.
Rice effects?
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah, they're growing a lot now actually, and they do
Mm-hmm.
some pretty cool stuff. Actually a lot of Marvel stuff as well. Uh, so I moved to Berlin. I think I was I was 20 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved from Amsterdam to Berlin for half a year and started working at Rice, which was a super great experience because they came from quite a small group of people, and they were growing pretty rapidly because they were getting bigger projects like all the time. So this was the first time that they got like such a big piece of a movie, which was The Man from U.N.C.L.E.,
Mm-hmm.
like Guy Ritchie movie,
Yeah,
spy
yeah,
movie.
yeah. Remember.
Yeah, I quite like the movie actually. It's a pretty cool movie.
Yeah, I saw the shot from the project in your show reel.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. So I started working on that film, and I came in a time that was actually quite convenient because they wrapped up the movie like 2 weeks before I left. So I worked those full 5 months on that same project.
Mm-hmm.
Learned a crazy lot. And the nice thing again about this was that even though they had bigger projects and they had a pretty big team, I think the Man from U.N.C.L.E. team was, I think, about 90 or 100 people. I'm not 100% sure, but at least that's what I thought it was. So it's pretty big, but not like massively big, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
included everything, so compositors, 3D people, everyone. So you could still there was still room to grow for yourself, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
so yeah, you could really like show what you were worth, and then they would change the work that they gave you based on that. So
Mm-hmm.
you start off with some smaller, easy stuff, and then if they see like, okay, well, he handles it pretty well, you get bigger stuff. So yeah, I learned a lot in those 5 months. Really enjoyed it. And then after those 5 months, I went back to the Film Academy for my fourth year. And as I mentioned, that every year you make a movie. So the fourth year is the big movie of 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
15, 20 minutes. So for the visual effects, well, actually, yeah, the whole year, all the students of your year work the whole year on that movie. So we decided we had a director that really wanted to make this story with this creature in it, like a sea creature.
Mm-hmm.
So we started developing that. We had so we had a full digital model of this creature, and it was pretty much like a fish guy living
Okay.
in an aquarium in a laboratory. So we had to do like the digital creature and then a lots of set extensions to make this laboratory. We could build a little bit on set, but we had to extend it. Then we had a whole outside set which was fully filmed in green screen, where we replaced all the backgrounds. Actually, if you can you quickly go to YouTube? It might be actually cool to just skip through it if you want.
Yeah, of course, of course. I don't know why, but I thought about previous year Oscar movie.
Yeah, we actually. Um, Yeah, that's an whole other story, but it looks there's quite a lot of stuff that looks the same. There was a little bit of a thing about it. We even like had a Skype conversation with Guillermo del Toro about it.
Really?
Yeah, because he was accused of plagiarism by quite a lot of people. In the end, we think it turned out that it was just a coincidence, but yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of stuff that really looks the same.
What should I Google, man?
If you Google the space between us VFX breakdown, I think you
The
will get.
space.
Is there something from CG Bros?
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, if you grab the VFX breakdown, you get an idea of the work that we did that year. So this is all still university.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. If you skip through it a bit, because it's quite long, but you can see like we had a bunch of different stuff. So this was with a team of about 10 people.
Okay.
We had this. We're doing the tank. That was the concept art for the fish guy. This is not the renders. Yeah, here we got the turntable.
Looks so similar, man.
Yeah. Did some animation stuff. Yeah, and if you skip a bit further, we also had that fully digital environment. Yeah, there you go. It's like the outside.
I see.
So yeah, anyway, this was my last year on the Film Academy. So you can imagine that this was quite a lot of work. And usually, what happened, there wasn't really a pipeline on the Film Academy. Like everything was set up by students.
Okay.
So a good friend of mine who was in my my year at uni as well, and who's actually working at Framestore as well now as a lighter.
Mm-hmm.
We both had more of a technical. We like being technical as well, so we figured, okay, well, to pull this off, we really need some sort of pipeline. Because in the years before that, like the visual effects students just had they pretty much did their shot management. Well, they had shotgun, but most of the stuff was through like spreadsheets and stuff like that. And you set up like a folder structure. So we thought, okay, we just need to like automate a bunch of stuff. So I really started looking into Python as well, which I started to really like in the end. But so that was my first encounter with Python and being a bit more technical, trying to automate things, trying to get everything managing itself pretty much as possible without artists having to do everything by hand. And so that the film was a really great experience to work on. And then after university, obviously we had to find work, which is not the very easiest thing when you just graduated. Because you're still, in the eyes of the studios, you're still like, it's like a student without experience.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you probably had the same experience, I assume, like everyone.
Some kind of, yeah.
So I started sending emails to every studio. I really wanted to go to London because it's pretty close to the Netherlands still, and I have a girlfriend in the Netherlands, so I want to stay closer. But like no one responded to my emails, except for Method, who were in London at the time as well. But they were closing, obviously. So, but no one knew that at the time. Yeah. So they sent me an email back, and they said, "Okay, it looks really cool. Your show reel. We would like you to hire you, but not in London. We want you in Vancouver. So, are you up for an interview?" I said, "Well, yeah, sure," because I didn't really have any other. I didn't get anything back from other studios. So I thought, yeah, sure, let's go for an interview. And the interview went really well, actually. So I got a contract in Method Vancouver for 5 months as a mid-level compositor. So I moved to Vancouver after graduating. and yeah, I stayed there for quite a bit. My first show at Method was Allegiant from the Divergent series. Not sure
Oh,
if
okay.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, understand.
Yeah, and then after that, the word came in that we were working on Fantastic Beasts.
Nice. First part.
Well, I already mentioned like Harry Potter a bit too often, maybe, but I really wanted to work on that movie. So
Yes.
from the moment that I heard that they were working on it, I was just sending emails all the time, like, "Hey, I really need to work on this. Please put me on this movie." Yeah, which really worked out well because I was on the Allegiant team, as I said,
Uh-huh.
which was I was a little bit sad about in the beginning because there was also they were working on Captain America: Winter Soldier
Uh-huh.
and on Allegiant
Uh,
and on King Arthur, and I was put on Allegiant. But it turned out to work really well because Allegiant finished like a week before the supervisor on Fantastic Beasts started.
nice.
So they put me on Fantastic Beast as the first compositor. So there was quite a lot of stuff to like try out, and in the beginning we had a super small team, so I was just doing loads of temp stuff, which is a really good opportunity to show that you can work quick but still deliver work. You really have time to develop some sort of trust relationship with the supervisor and production. So at the time that the production started to grow and we got more and more shots, I was trusted with like some pretty cool shots. If you see my show reel, there's some cool shots. So I was super happy with that show, especially since it was Fantastic Beast. So I think that show was like 7 months, and at that time, I think when that finished, I was at Method for about a year, and then I moved on to King Arthur, which was still in production because that show went on and on and on. So I did a few shots on King Arthur, and then there was Power Rangers for a little bit. And then I got offered an extension again. There's my show reel. I got offered an extension again, but my girlfriend she was still studying in the Netherlands. So, and Vancouver is like pretty far away. It's pretty much the other side of the world. So I thought, let's give London another try. See if they want me right now because I have a little bit more experience. Yeah, that's one of the Fantastic Beasts shots, by the way. King Arthur and Allegiant. So I thought give London another try. So this time I didn't send emails to everyone in London, but just to the big guys. So MPC, ILM, DNEC, and Framestore. And it turns out that it really, really helps to have worked at another studio before, because this time I got mails back from them like pretty much instantly. So I had interviews at those studios, and in the end I picked Framestore. I went to Framestore and I've been there ever since. I started on Guardians. You see quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah. What project? What project did you do in Framestore?
Yeah, so I worked on Guardians, and then Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
Which I poster. And so Guardians and Thor. We also worked on Jungle Book, which is not released yet, and I'm working on a movie. But since it's not released, I don't think we're allowed to talk about it, right?
Really? You think
I'm not sure.
Because when I go to, for example, not this link. Just wait a sec. Go to
IMDb.
this link, on this link, and scroll a little bit down and look at your latest project. I start thinking, can we talk about this or we can't?
I think it's safe to mention the title, but
Yes, yes.
so yeah, I'm working on Alita right now as a lead compositor now. So this is my first show as a
Yep,
lead as well.
yep, yep. And I'll talk in Russian just a few words.
Sure, yeah.
И вот это одна из особенностей в рамках нашего курса, что мне очень хотелось предоставить возможность поговорить не только с композерами, ну, скажем так, рядовыми композерами, но и также с лидами, то есть с комперами, которые имеют разный уровень скиллов, и в зависимости от того, какой у них скилл, они могут, ну, какую-то особенность, может сказать, как-то, может, по-другому шот видят. Поэтому у нас первые два блока в рамках курса идет рядовые композеры, так сказать. И вторые два блока, то есть третий, четвертый шот, у нас супервайзится лидами. Следующее занятие у нас также будет компер, который в рамках Framestore работает на позиции лид-композера. Yeah, and back again to English.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the journey, I guess. That's where we are right now.
Yeah. But you missed something. You missed something that that I think the thing why everyone know you right now. I mean, yes, we hotbox. You already mentioned that you started learning Python when it was your fourth year of education, but it's just Python. How did you come to that vHotbox plugin?
Yeah, so I think like developing tools in general, you always try to automate as much things as possible. So it starts with things simple as for example, like a node in Nuke, like the project 3D node, right? I'm sure everyone who has done a projection before, you have the project 3D node.
Yes.
It has a checkbox for the crop. And by default, it's cropping your bounding box. So every time you make that node, you want to turn off that feature.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
You just want to turn it off. So this is one of the things where after a while, when you in the beginning, you still need to get comfortable with Nuke and you want to just get your shots out. But after then, you think you start to be more confident in your work, and then you think you have more time to look into other things. So for me, I spend that time researching things like I'm always, when I create this node, the first thing I do is click this button. Why? How can I automate this so that whenever I make that node, it's already clicked for me?
Yeah, but again, default parameters, just type one string and that's it.
Yeah, but that's like an introduction to Python, right?
Yeah.
You need to look it up, and you need to figure out, okay, apparently this weird string of characters, if I type it exactly correct with like the correct uppercase, and there needs to be a dot, and everything needs to be surrounded in quotes. It can be really hard in the beginning, right? So even one little sentence might be a bit abstract. So yeah, you start with that, and then after a while you start really getting the idea of how stuff works. So you know, like your menu PY, and you can type stuff in there. So you start to look into bigger and bigger things. So at some point, I really had like loads of menu items everywhere, because that's how you write your little functions, like your little shortcut things, and then you add it as a menu item. And I was assigning everything to shortcuts, because I don't like clicking through menu items. I just want it, like, I want to make something, and I want to do it really quick. So I assigned everything to shortcuts. And at some point, I was running out of shortcuts because there's only so many characters on the keyboard, right? So I thought, okay, what is a good way of still accessing everything super quickly?
Yeah.
Without making stuff super complicated. And as I told you before, like I had a background in Maya, just as a student and like a hobbyist, but they have that radial menu. So I thought, well, that looks really cool if you can like add your own functions to that. And what if you make it like context aware? So if you have like this selected, the buttons that you have on your menu are different, and you can like super quickly add buttons and change buttons. So it started out as something for myself, just to replace the hotkeys, replace shortcuts, and it turned out to I showed it. This was when I was at Method, so I had a bunch of other colleagues that were beta testing it for me, and I really liked it as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it grew from there, and then I uploaded it to Nukepedia. I already had done a few tools that I put on Nukepedia before that, and then I put the hotbox on there, and yeah, it was really successful. Lots of people watched it. I got like loads of emails from other people at even like studios that implemented it, and so that was really cool. Actually, I got an email from one of the supervisors at Framestore as well, before I worked there, obviously, who sent me an email just like, hey, yeah, it looks really cool. And he was the guy that turned out to be interviewing me during my interview at Framestore.
Oh, nice.
It worked out really well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Great story, man. Really great story. Thanks a lot about that. So yeah, I think first part is done. Okay.
Yeah, that was quite long.
Yeah, but I can bet it was really interesting, not only for me.
So.
Okay, so second part is about compositing, basically about work that was done. So we have original sequence. Did you upload all versions that I sent you?
Yes, I have everything in CineSync, so I see the green screen.
Okay, okay, a few words in Russian. Итак, друзья, ситуация следующая. Есть у нас вот такой вот съемочный материал. Съемочный материал выглядит следующим образом. Студентам предоставлялся этот материал, дополнительно предоставлялось рендера и выделялось чуть меньше недели времени, хотя нет, по-моему, да, неделя времени, для того, чтобы можно было поковыряться с этим материалом и получить определенный результат. Отталкиваясь от данного исходника, в рамках коммерческого проекта, то есть студии Трехмер Фильм, которая непосредственно делала этот клип, клип группы Ленинград, получился вот такой результат. Это финальная версия. Эта финальная версия, она рассматривалась нами как некий референс, в рамках которого в случае, если неохота экспериментировать со своими творческими способностями, на этот референс можно ориентироваться и к нему плюс-минус подгонять весь композ. Что мы сейчас сделаем? Мы сейчас сначала спросим у Wouter'а по поводу данной версии, финальной версии, какие комментарии он может дать, что ему нравится, что не нравится, что можно улучшить, что можно не улучшить. А после этого у нас есть 6 версий студентов. Каждая версия – это один и тот же шот, но только сделан разными студентами. По сути, это некий делиз, но мы говорим не о разных шотах, а просто о разных версиях. В ближайшие полчаса будем говорить именно об этом. Okay, Wouter, let's start from final version that went straight to final music clip. So this one. What can you say about this version? What do you like? What you don't like? What can we improve in this version?
So about the
So
final version, right?
yes, this is some kind of final version. Be honest with you, that project that Studio gave me, as I understand, they took it from some archive. So probably, I don't know 100%, but probably maybe they missed something or something was changed inside script. So for example, these lines.
Oh, the stretching pixels
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end.
stretching pixels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
know.
you shouldn't look at that problem, you know. I'm interested more about like a creative stuff, like a colors, integration, all this stuff. Please say something. Say something, please.
Yeah. So if you just step through it,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing, because I mean, I've seen the stuff in context, so it's
Yeah.
like a comment that she is trying to stop, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So this is like a super hot comment.
Yep.
Um,
Correct.
yeah, I think one of the things that stood out for me. Let me start by saying something positive, because what
Yeah.
I think really well is the depth they try to achieve with
Mm-hmm.
the different layers of clouds.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially a shot like this, when you have like one foreground element, it can be quite hard to get a nice separation between your super up close foreground and your super far ground background. Like
Yep.
it's
Yep.
you don't want it to feel like A over B, so you
Mm-hmm.
always try to get some depth in there. Which I think works quite successful with the clouds. They added extra clouds in there,
Mm-hmm.
so you have different layers of clouds that move at different speed. So super close to the camera, it goes really rapid, and then
Yeah.
further back you have slower clouds, which
Mm-hmm.
gives a nice sense of depth. So that's very successful, I think.
Yeah.
Color-wise, I think, to be honest, I would probably go for less different colors in this shot. This shot is already, it's a really hectic shot. That's like that's pretty much the thing of this shot, right? You have the comet and it's like flickering because the fire is changing
Mm-hmm.
rapidly, and
Yeah.
she's panicking. There's like wind, there's clouds, so there's lots of chaos in the shot. Already by all the different elements. So I think you don't need chaos in your colors to say so.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we look at this image, you see quite a lot of different colors, I think. So we have almost magenta orange.
Yeah.
In you guys can see my cursor as well, right?
If you draw something, they will see.
Oh, right. I don't even see my own cursor. Here we go.
So pick some.
Yeah. Do you see my cursor now?
Yep. Now
Cool.
this one.
So if you look at this area, for example,
Not that color. Select from rectangle.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's
Another
go.
color. Maybe I don't know, black one.
Yeah, dark, at least. Okay, there we go. Yeah, if you look at this area,
Mm-hmm.
it's really magenta-y orange almost. So you have your orange, but it's there's quite a bit of red in there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look a little bit of blue as well, just a bit more magenta, which kind of matches with these clouds down here.
Mm-hmm.
These are very, very purple magenta as well.
Yeah.
But then if you look at this area, for example, like the rim of the comet, to say so, is very green. Especially if we stop, for example, on this frame.
Yep.
There's like a plume of green here. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be there. It's just like loads of colors. And then if we look at her skin tones here, for example, it's this is very green in the comet, and then this is very magenta, red, orange again.
Yeah. So basic comment about different colors in one specific area. Yeah. So we have fire, and this fire has some specific temperature with a specific color, right?
Exactly. And we also have this whole blue area down here, which makes sense to have it in the background, but then she is very blue as well here in her armpit, pretty much. So I would, well, again, maybe this is something they're going for, like getting the chaos drip through into the colors as well, not only in the elements, the rest of the elements of the shot. But I would probably go for a more easy on the eye color palette. So just have, I would probably pick two types of colors, like one for the comet, like having a fiery red, and then one for the background.
Like a blue one, right?
Blue, just to set those apart a bit. But just, yeah, I would probably stop there. So I would avoid getting too many different colors into one shot.
Okay, thanks. Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's start talking about students' work, and I open playlist and select first one. First one is sequence AZ, like you see.
Do I need to do that as well, or is that you and then I see the?
I can do it for you.
Yeah, if you want.
No problem. So first sequence is sequence AZ. Okay.
Cool. Let's watch it a few times.
Yep. Yeah. Of course. Of course. You have enough time to do that. So as I said before, each shot will looks different because it's that's like a vision of student.
So in terms of color, I think this is pretty cool because it's as what I mentioned, it's a bit more a two color palette, right? You have one thing on the comet, and then the background is a different color. So I think color-wise, it is pretty cool that you have everything feels a bit orange, like everything is affected by this massive fireball here.
Yep.
The only thing that I'm missing here, because I think it's cool that we have different layers of clouds here to sell the scale a bit. But it would be cool, I think. Oh, we got some at the end. But I think it would be nice to keep that effect and pull it forward as well. So we have some clouds that go past camera really quick, like we had in the previous version.
Yeah. So add more clouds between actress and camera.
Yeah, exactly. Just to and they don't need to be like super defined clouds, but it can just be like flashes going in front of her face without being super obvious or having really cloud shapes. It's just like flashes of brighter things to sell the effect that you're moving through clouds.
Yeah.
At the same note, I would probably reduce the amount of clouds towards the background, because right now we're really like you only see like small patches of the actual ground.
So make clouds more transparent.
I would probably start by just lowering the amount of clouds. I would probably halve the amount of clouds. And then make them a little bit dense as well, less dense as well. So less like these super thick areas, and more like the wispy stuff that you sometimes get on the sides. Like you got a bit of hair, I think. I think that would help a lot. Then there is quite a bit of text stuff, I think, to go. Like these clouds all have pretty sharp, hard, dark edges around them, which makes them feel a little bit cut out. Like you took an image and you put it on a plane or whatever, rather than a cloud that's actually there. So that's something I would probably look into. I think that helps a lot, especially like dark clouds like this. You should imagine that this is like a super, super hot thing, right?
Yep.
So I would expect this cloud, for example, which is relatively close, definitely need to blow out a lot, because we are like this area is going above 1 in values, which is good. I think that makes sense because it's a fireball. But I think we can have shapes on the clouds, like to give them some directionality, like they're affected by this huge fireball. Because right now everything feels a bit flat.
Okay.
So I would probably try and get some shape in there, like it's affected by like a directional thing. If you look at pictures of clouds, for example, with a very strong sun, you can really see the different sides of the clouds being lit differently. And I think that would be nice if we had that in this shot.
Is this story more about CG or you can do it in comp?
Well, it always starts with CG, and you try to push it as far as you can get. But at the end, it's the comper. You get something, and you need to make it work. So, are these CG clouds, or are they?
They are CG, but we actually don't have any utilities to work, in
Yeah, that
like
doesn't help. So
additional
it's
stuff.
pretty much a plate then.
Yeah, some kind of.
In that case, I'm quite curious where those dark edges come from, though. Then, because I kind of
Maybe
expect
some remote issues. I don't know.
What I think is really cool in this shot is the heat haze that this person, the artist, added.
Okay.
Like you have this on the arms. I think that is really successful.
Okay.
The only comment I have about it is that this is like a massive fireball.
Yeah.
And I think the story of this shot, what we're trying to sell with the shot, is again that feeling of chaos, like being super close up on this woman that is trying to stop the asteroid. That we can have way more of the heat haze. We don't only need it around here, but I think we can definitely like pull it further. And usually you want to avoid the face a little bit because that's the director and the client usually wants. They don't like it if the faces get blurry, but I think we can make it a lot more extreme. Maybe even like making the frequency of the noise. It's a pretty small frequency if I look at it like this. Yeah, it's like a fairly small noise pattern which works really well, I think. We might want to do like an additional layer with a lower frequency that's a bit more in your face, like you're almost like you're with your head close to a fireball, obviously. I'm pretty sure everyone looked into a campfire at some point and you see like the distorting air. I think we definitely want to have that on this shot as well.
Yep. And I also can add that we have give me frames. We have some issues with these edges, so it's like a dark edges that should be fixed. The same stuff on fire. Yeah, but it's more like a technical stuff,
Yeah, the thing is with fire, it's a light source in itself. So there's not really a reason, I think, to have like dark edges on your fire. Right? Because it's emitting light and it's super hot, so you wouldn't expect it to darken stuff.
Yeah, but for creative, I don't know, creative decision, we can add more contrast inside fire to fill that fire,
Yeah, definitely. I would probably, in that case, I would probably just lift or boost the highlights rather than pulling the darks lower.
Yep.
Just to get that feeling that it's super hot. I think it's cool that that in this case we sunk our hands into the fire instead of having them like some still slightly visible.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a smart decision because it's easier to comp,
Mm-hmm.
and it works, I think.
So basically, we should add more blue, right? More blue and more dark to balance the
I
shot.
didn't really say anything about color yet. I think color-wise, it's like the color pattern is quite nice, I think.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
What I would do probably and that would change the look of the shot quite a bit. I would take this whole area and make it way brighter, because right now this is the brightest part, right?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
make this way brighter and have like a huge glow
Yeah.
coming out of that area. Obviously not completely obscuring the actress, but really make it feel like you're holding a fireball. Because right now it feels hot, but still it looks like something that's like you're looking at something from very far away. So I would really pretty much have this pure white almost, and then have it maybe even add some sort of flare, not like a super obvious ugly flare, but like some flaring from this super hot asteroid. Because right now we don't have any glow at all, I think. So
I'm
yeah,
not sure, but yeah, probably, yeah.
I think that would it would change the look of the shot a lot, but I think it would benefit from it as well. So that's probably the first thing I would do. Like make it hotter because it's a fire, and make it glow as well.
Окей, окей. Саш, какие-нибудь вопросы по поводу комментариев есть? Уточняй, если что-то непонятно, мы движемся дальше. Окей, Wouter, next clip, next version.
Yep, sure. Are you
Sequence MN.
Okay, so we have a different color.
Yeah.
Color in here, which is interesting. I think it's pretty cool. The fire definitely feels hotter in this one, which is a good move, I think. I think we can feel it more, or we should feel it more on her as well, because she still feels a little too dark to my taste, especially in frames like this.
Okay.
Where it feels like she is almost gammaed down a bit. She goes really like this goes really brownish.
So decreased contrast, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't try and flatten it out. I would just boost her a lot so that she gets a lot hotter.
Okay.
Like frames like this, I think are a lot more. Stuff like this is a lot more successful, I think. If you look at these highlights,
Yeah.
it really feels like she is super close to the asteroid. Yeah, that would definitely help, I think. I like the clouds flashing by, right? There's some cloud. I get the feeling of some stuff flying up and down, especially around her arm. I think that's a good move, and you keep her face out of it, which is also nice. I'm not a big fan of this pink core in the asteroid. If you look here, I think this is quite cool, like this green yellow color. Excuse me.
On previous dailies with Roman, yeah. Roman said some fun stuff about pink color. One of director.
This about Guardians of the Galaxy too, or
No. Okay. I won't say project because everyone will understand director. So, but the comment was some kind of this color is too gay pink.
I've heard that one.
Do you know that director? No?
Yeah, I've
No,
heard the
okay,
story.
okay, yeah, okay.
I agree with. I mean, so Roman pointed it out on different shots as well, then. But I think, yeah, I'm not sure where it comes from. It makes it feel. It draws attention to it,
Mm-hmm.
whereas you still want to look. You want to look at this, right? You want to look at her face, and at the same time, you want to feel the heat from the asteroid. So you want to look at her face and like this area of the shot.
Yeah,
That's where the action happens. And having a pink ball here or
yeah.
pink core is just is distracting.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go for one color. The same stuff applies though about the flaring. I think we got some sort of haze here,
Mm-hmm.
like a hazier area, which I think is really successful. But I would try and get that more across the entire thing, especially here as well. You got a really strong difference between the comet on this area and the background here. The background almost looks a little bit boring, if I can say so. Like
Like a desaturated, right?
yeah, it looks very desaturated. Doesn't look very interesting. Uh, it yeah.
So,
So I would
what do you think? How can we improve that background? So, should we add the same color? Should we add a different color, like blue one?
uh,
What do you think?
I think blue and yellow would be a cool combination. Right now it's a bit grayish almost, grayish magenta. Or
Yeah, but I
yeah.
think it's in comparison. You look at pink and you think that you see green one, but probably it's like a desaturated at all, like a black and white background, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Some other thing I would probably do as well uh, is try to get a little bit more interesting shapes down there. I'm not sure if this is gonna work if I draw, but right now it's just a plain uh, nothing down there.
You mean texture or highlights?
Yeah, it's something that we often get asked to do in comp is just to add a bit of breakup.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you see like this whole thing here,
Yeah,
it's one big square that is white, and you
yeah,
got another square here, and another square here,
yes.
and another square here. This one is a little bit better because it's a bit breakup. I think if we before we defocus it, we add just add a bit of breakup, so like a little speck hit here and there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe find a nice texture somewhere
Yeah.
of a rooftop. Or whatever it is, and you just add like a little bit of variation,
Uh-huh.
just to make it a little bit more interesting. It's not supposed to draw your eye at it, but just to get some sort of breakup down there, so it feels like something with loads of detail that is there. Also, we have some popping in the clouds. I almost feel now we're stepping through it. Yeah, and the same note. I think the clouds are too strong here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't see anything of the background. I would probably have more wispy, less dense clouds. So more, quick stuff that flies by. I think it's cool to have the different layers with different speeds. That sells the depth a bit. But I think, I think we can haze up the background a little bit more as well. So still add that extra detail in there, but then also haze it up a little bit, so it feels like there's another layer of clouds down there.
Okay.
Because right now it really feels like she's moving through a field of clouds on cards, I would say. Which I mean, you pointed out that there are CG clouds, but it just feels like a field of clouds she's moving through rather than actual clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the
Nice.
same with getting some shape in the clouds, like some directional light.
Mm-hmm.
One one thing I want to point out as well is there's lens dirt here.
Yep.
I think lens dirt is a good idea in this shot, especially because it's so close up, and so it's so hot. Like the the fireball would definitely light up any nasty stuff that's inside the lens or on the lens. What I would do is I would probably keep it like in areas like this, around the corners.
Around the corners, okay.
Because it's cool to have, but at the same time, you don't want people to look at this shot and look at the lens dirt, right?
Yeah.
And that's the focus of the shot. I think if we edit a bit like here, we can still keep looking in the middle, but have cool lens dirt at the sides that's nicely lit up.
Yeah.
Especially in this case, if you put it in these corners, you can have nice directional light on it.
Yeah.
So it's light. It's lit from the top, because this is the light source. Yeah, I would not put it on top of the actress, because it's distracting, and it's not adding a lot. So I would mainly contain that to the edges. Yeah, and I think a general note on everything, I would probably just boost the actress a bit, because she still feels pretty dark considering that she's next to a fireball. But overall, pretty cool as well. I like the camera shake. That's nice.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it. Nice. Thanks.
Nice.
Next is sequence PS.
Okay. Is that a difference? I like the color pattern actually in the beginning. You stop on the first frame. I think this is a pretty cool frame. The fireball works really well. Yeah. Sorry. Let's watch it a few times.
Yeah. But for me, to be honest with you, I see a lot of green on the clouds.
On the clouds, yeah.
Yeah.
But especially like darker green. And yeah. So I think yeah, let's start with the fireball. I think this fireball really feels like fire to me. That's cool. Same thing though. I would probably just make this the core, or deeper into the fireball, a lot hotter, and have it give it some flaring. But we already went over that for the other shot. I would do the same for this one. Then the background goes really purple almost.
Yeah, I see purple with some kind of blue colors.
Like, let me switch the color here. Nice pink color, yeah. So yeah, this area, and also around here, it goes really blue purplish, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I think, again, if we stop on this first frame, I think this color is actually quite all right cloud-wise. I think it's a nice contrast with the comet. But yeah, I think overall the clouds are a bit green. I think I agree with you on that. And then the sky is just it's really purple and really saturated. Yeah. I'm not actually even sure if it's the sky or not. It feels like it's on the clouds almost. If you watch it like this, like feels like this is almost attached to the cloud. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Um, yeah. Anyway, if we look at her, as I said, I think this fire is quite successful in terms of color. I think she goes really purple, really orange sometimes. So it makes sense that she is close to the fireball.
Okay.
But I would avoid having her purple, orange like this. Bit Donald Trump color.
Simpson color.
That's right as well. On the same note, though, I would probably add a little bit more yellow in her face.
Yeah, more saturation.
Yeah, because she goes really magenta, desaturated in those frames. It's pretty cool though that she feels like she's like it's the light is really burning.
Yeah.
On her. Yeah. We can read some definition in like the clouds, so we have some sort of depth perception, like different speeds in the clouds, so that's cool. Yeah, I think these clouds need a bit of work though, because they feel really mushy. So again,
mushy? What does
mushy
it mean?
as in it all feels like blurred, meshed together.
Okay.
So I would probably try to get some sort of shape in there. Let's see if we can draw something. Can we make the size of the cursor bigger? Like the.
I'm not sure. I think no. Just select instrument and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, I think if you take a cloud and you just like add stuff to it, not like this, more soft of course. You almost got it here, but like the inverse effect. So you almost got like glowy there. I think if you make that like super hot stuff, so you really get some shape and you really get the idea that these clouds are being lit by that huge comet.
But be honest with you, I think it's more task for lighter.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is just really depending on the studio you work for as well, of course.
Yeah.
Some studios are way more CG driven. Framestore, for example, is very CG heavy. So most of the stuff will be kicked back to lighting to fix. Other studios, for example, Method was a lot more comp driven.
Yeah. But you should have enough utilities information to work with this CG to fix any problems or add additional lights or something else.
Yeah, I agree. This is pretty hard because you don't have utilities. That doesn't make it easier. Other than that, I think we had that other shot before, which had the heat haze, which I think was a very good idea because you have a fireball in your face.
Yeah.
That's heat haze to it.
I also feel that there's something missed on the left and right side from girl. I just want to see something else. I don't know, like a wind or some heat haze, some additional information.
Yeah, as I said, it feels a bit sort of mushy thing, right? It feels a bit blurred and there's not much information there.
So probably heat haze is the first step that we should tweak here to improve that quality.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah, nice. Okay, thanks. Next one, sequence SL.
Are those the names of the artists?
Yeah, and it's like a name and surname.
Yeah, I see. Okay, let's watch this. Did we add some extra stuff? Because it really feels like the wind is really blowing a lot stronger, I have the feeling, than on the other shots, which I actually really like.
We have one CG layer for clouds that move from bottom to top, and we have one additional layer of clouds, but direction is wrong. It's like from us to, I don't know, in depth from us, you know?
Yeah, I see. I think the idea is good though, to have some stuff that really goes by really rapid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. Same stuff here. Oh, let me grab a darker color. Like this stuff goes really orange. Too orange, it doesn't feel like she's holding the fireball, but it
Yeah.
just very orange. We got this magenta rim here, which I'm not a really big fan of. So I would probably just get that the same color as the rest of the comet.
Yeah.
I think so far this comet is actually really nice. Like this is blown out quite a bit. I would probably still try and get a bit of a difference between this area and this area, so we get some almost like shape in it, so you can read it being a ball. So being hotter here, a little bit darker here, not like actual dark, but just less hot.
Yeah.
Because right now it just feels like one thing, like we have one shape here instead
like
of
flat area.
Yeah, exactly, a flat area rather than having some shape in it like here. So I would probably again brighten that quite a bit. This works pretty cool, I think. It's a little bit desaturated maybe. I would pull it to get more closer to the color of the comet. And then again, I would flare the heck out of it. Just the effect that you would get when you would have been there with your camera. I think the clouds that go that pass by are too blue, and they feel a bit additive, almost.
And I think in this situation, these clouds, like in front of camera, is really small. I think we should see much bigger texture.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like a bigger, low frequency.
Yes, yes, like a big patch of cloud that will cover, I don't know, one half of whole image. You know, maybe one like 1 divide 4. You know.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. I think also the blue we have here, it's quite nice and contrasting with the comet, but especially maybe it works better if we have a layer of glow that glows out like everywhere. But right now it's just way too saturated.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what would be causing such a heavily blue atmosphere down there. So I would probably just tone that down quite a lot. Again, less dense clouds, in my opinion. Maybe we don't really have heat haze, I think, here. So, but then again, I think when we watch this, I think it really feels like, at least on her, and I know it's the clouds going past, but something about it that I really like, because it really feels like she's vibrating a bit more or something. Like she's really going through high speed, flying through the air.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's cool.
More turbulence we feel, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Nice. About background, I think it should be a little bit more darker, because asteroid is really, really, like has
Yeah. No,
big
I think
temperature.
that's a good point. So usually, your camera can only expose for one object in the scene, as in you want to change your aperture based on what you're filming, and obviously this fireball is super bright, so you need to make it a higher f-stop
Mm-hmm.
on the camera to still see her,
Mm-hmm.
which cause the background to go quite dark, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with that. Probably darken the background quite a bit.
Yeah, and I also want to add that probably we should add more motion blur here, because clouds feels
Yeah.
really, you know, like really sharp in motion.
Yeah, they go a bit quicker than in the other shots, I have the feeling. So it would make sense to give them a bit of extra motion blur.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Okay,
I
nice.
like the layering though. It's we have loads of layers of clouds here, which
Yeah.
gives it a more of a 3D feel.
Mm-hmm. Nice. We have two more versions.
Show that.
Yes. Next version is sequence VH. Oh.
This is a lot more glow.
Uh-huh.
Again, though, I would probably. I think it's a pretty cool shot, though. We zoomed in a bit, which I will get to later. But I think this is cool that we have some sort of hazing
Yeah.
coming off the comet. But I would make it yellow, as in green yellow, like we have here and here, and not dark reddish. I know it's probably caused by the background being blue and it being on top of it. But I would, I would pull that closer together with the comet.
Uh-huh. What do you think about color of actress and
I think
saturation?
I think it looks like we gammaed her down again.
Uh-huh.
So instead of having, like, you would expect her whole head pretty much to be super bright, especially like these areas as well.
Yeah.
It feels she's super shadowed, and she feels a bit flat, like a bit boring.
Uh-huh.
Just because this highlight is not that far away from this, so it looks like we lost a lot of contrast.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like making everything quite bright, we made all the midtones quite dark,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't think would be the correct way to go. So I think if we just brighten her up a lot,
Yes.
and try to get rid of these boring flat areas,
Okay.
like all this stuff. It's all again a bit mushy. Like everything is almost the same color.
Yeah.
There's not
So,
much range in there.
so we should come back to original plate, right? Like I don't know, 50%, and increase brightness of actress.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Just to make it a lot brighter. So we
Mm-hmm.
still have contrast in there without going very dark in the darker areas. So we increase the difference between bright and dark, but not by making stuff darker, but only by making stuff a lot brighter.
Mm-hmm. What about
This,
background?
oh yeah. I was actually going to say, I think these lens effects are more what I was after, like last time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So having stuff on this side, I think that's pretty cool. It helps. I would probably add like a little bit here, maybe in the screen right corner as well.
Okay.
Background, I think we don't really see much of the clouds, but I kind of like it though, because it makes me really focus on her, and it also gives me the feeling that everything is being a bit distorted and heat up by the asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think that we lacking loads of detail in at least the clouds or the background.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's nice to have a bit of pinks in there, like the occasional highlight that we see.
Okay.
Just to break it up a bit. But yeah, it's not too far off, I would say. I think the clouds, we might just give it a little bit more shape, like even if it's something simple, like a little gradient to be able to tell what's the bottom and what's the top of the cloud.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
Make
So,
it a little less flat.
Yep. Anything else?
Color-wise, I think the background's a bit hard to judge color-wise, just because we have this weird transition area. So this blue, I would say it's too blue, but if we have this comet and then the blue here, we get this weird transition area. I think the transition just doesn't work very well. The color in here, I mean. So, yeah, because everything goes a bit purple. So I would try to avoid that. I think the heat haze that's done here is nice. It's also cool that it's like the shapes we got in here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me in a bit there, actually. Zoom out a bit again.
Zoom out a little bit.
Work with a computer all day, but I cannot zoom. Yeah, so stuff we got in here, like those shapes that break up the edge a bit, like this stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's really successful. That looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might make it a little bit stronger though. Not necessarily with that same. Can we zoom out again?
Yeah, Alt and zoom.
I keep clicking with Alt, but like a shortcut to go back to.
I'm not sure. Just
because I cannot go back to full screen.
yeah. No.
Can you try or?
Just a sec.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there we are. Thank you. Yeah, I think that heat haze is really cool. If we had like an additional layer of the same sort of heat haze, but with a lower frequency pattern, just on top of pretty much everything to really like distort everything that's even near to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really cool, I think. But yeah, overall, I think this one is very successful. I think the plate needs some work, as we talked about.
Yeah.
I would still, like I say with everyone, every submission, I would still like make that area at the top brighter. So this stuff, just brighten it up. We don't really need to see loads of detail in there. A little bit is cool, but overall this can be a lot hotter than these areas.
Yeah.
It might be nice to get a little bit more of her arms in here, I think.
Okay.
It might be just this frame, but right now we have the edge of the comet, which is also cutting off her arms. So I think it's nice if we get a little bit of overlap of her arms on top of the comet, so we see that she's actually embedded in it and not like that her arms are behind it or anything. It's nice to have like a bit of a wash though from the hot comet. Yeah, definitely. I would definitely pull our arms forward a bit so it doesn't look like they're behind it.
Great. I think
one comment that I want to make about this one though is because we did a re-rack on this shot, so we changed the position of the plate.
Yep.
Which I don't necessarily think is very successful, because her head is now like this area of the shot is the center of attention, right? Maybe this. And right now it's like, if we split it in two, it's like the lower part of the shot. I think this area should be more in the middle,
Okay.
more higher, because right now the comet is literally like pushing her out of frame.
Yeah, I
With
understand.
kind of a story, but it's too much. Right here we just completely lose her chin.
Mm-hmm.
So we should definitely bring that back up, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so last one. Last
Bring it
one
on.
in our list, sequence VB. Each time when I switch to another version, it's like totally new colors.
Yeah.
But in few seconds, it just start see the whole image
Yeah.
like it should be, you know.
I think the
Oh.
color, the intensity of the color is quite successful in this one.
A lot of gray green.
Yeah, but like just talking about exposure, like
Yeah.
intensity-wise,
Mm-hmm.
I think we still have these dull areas here, which are a bit boring.
Let's
But
switch
also-
back to original plate. Maybe we have the same stuff there.
Yeah, the thing is just they shot this. Look at how dark this stuff is here. It's super dark. We even get like a shadow here,
Uh-huh.
which you would never get if you had like a huge flaming fireball like going like this.
Yeah,
You would
but
know get like shadow there.
we have what we have, so
Yeah,
we
yeah,
should
that's
do
always
something with this.
that's always the case. But I see that this is definitely caused by the plate, like the orange light.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are going for more like a fireball, of course. So, and this feels more like a heat lamp, heat light or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
This though is still like a good indication. I think like it's super bright. But then again, like this light should be way, way brighter because it's fireball.
Yeah. So probably we should dispel a little bit her hands, right?
Yeah,
To
get rid of
match
that.
with the skin tone on face.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. The thing is though that this is a white light, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at this thing. There's like a white light shining through it. I would probably bring a bit more green into the face.
Really? Okay.
Not green, but more like yellow green.
Okay.
So a bit more yellow, just to match with the fire. Because if we can you switch back to the comp?
Yep.
Oh, actually, this one is quite magenta. The other ones were a bit more green in the fire, I think.
This one, no?
Yeah, if you look at like areas like this, it's a bit more greenish yellow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a cool color.
Yeah, but we also have much higher values there.
Yeah. So we need to generate some of those values ourselves in the plate, I think.
Okay.
Is this the latest one? Yeah.
Yeah, this is the latest one.
So one thing I usually like to do for that stuff is first you do a grade on the character herself,
Mm-hmm.
try and get as much as possible, and then you do like an exponential glow
Mm-hmm.
on the plate, and you just plus that on top,
Mm-hmm.
very lightly, just to generate a bit of extra values. Because sometimes you start grading it up and you flatten everything out. So if you then grade it down again, it just looks super flat, right? Almost like it's clamped.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's not much range in the plate. And if you use like a tiny exponential glow and you put it on top, you get a lot more range. Not like really color values, but it looks less clipped, I feel. So that's usually something I quite like to do. Still though, I think intensity-wise, a frame like this is pretty cool. If you look at her face.
Mm-hmm.
works quite well. It's just color-wise, it doesn't really match up. And yeah, what you mentioned about the background as well, like this is super green.
Yeah.
Which interesting choice, but it doesn't tell the story it needs to tell, I think. It almost gives me like a snowy Christmas feeling for some reason, especially this, which is definitely not what we're going here for.
It looks more like all image was desaturated, and then we had some elements orange color and some elements green color. So we still
go ahead. Go ahead.
we still need some original colors. We can't desaturate all image. We have to save proportion of colors in different channels and working with it, like multiply, but still have that ratio.
Yeah, you want some sort of breakup in there, and you can do that with colors as well. Just that not everything feels the same.
Yeah.
Also, I think looking at this, I feel this area is super distracting. Really draws my eye because the blacks in there are so deep.
Yep.
Like especially a patch like here or even here, it's so high contrast compared to what's next to it.
Yeah.
And then we have this piece of cloud which just moves up slowly, which is cool because it's further away, but because it's brighter than the rest and sharper.
Bright.
It's sharper and brighter. It really draws your eye, especially with this dark patch of green background behind it. So yeah, I would, I think making this less sharp, and I think brighter areas in the clouds are cool, as I mentioned before. Just not like an entire tiny cloud that is brighter than the rest. So if you add some shape, you add it like on every cloud and not the entire cloud, so just parts of the cloud. Yeah, and then in the end we get like a thundercloud or something on the side.
Yeah. Too dark.
Yeah, that's a bit dark. I think what is cool though is that you get some sort of shape in here, so it's not as flat. But at the end it's just mushy again. We gotta also, now we pause here on this darker frame, we got a layer of glow, which is cool. It's just, this is such a hot spot that we would get way more glow. So we definitely go way stronger on the glow again. Because it's like, we can get a wash up till here, not only like a strong, we have a pretty strong glow here, and after this point it's just nothing anymore. So I think we can get more glow.
Great. Anything else?
Some dark edges.
Yeah.
But that's techie stuff. I think it's a bit weird that we go this dark in here.
But it should be much brighter, right?
Yeah. Yeah, apart from the creative thing that this, I think, should be very bright. We also introduced some new colors here, so we get a bit magenta-y. And then here it goes deeper orange. So just, yeah, just smooth that out a bit, like color-wise, get the thing in the same range. I think we can add a bit more camera shake in here. Actually, one thing that I wanted to point out for this one is it feels like for most shots, let me just draw something here. Like this is the thing and this is her, right? And it feels like for most of the shots, it feels like we're going like this.
Yes.
And then this is where the earth is, right?
Yeah.
For this shot, for some reason, I have the idea that we are almost going like this. Like she is here, but then the Earth is in a different perspective almost.
Oh, I
I think
understand what you're talking about. Okay, so Earth is has
some weird
really
connection to.
high angle, right?
Yeah, I think it might just be the way I read it because of this patch that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like she is like going like that way
Yeah,
almost, whereas we want to go like or like this
like
more.
straight. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it almost feels that, especially when you play it like this, it feels like she's going like in a with a bend or something.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's something.
I'll give a small explanation in Russian.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Значит, идея тут в чем, о чем сказал Уолтер. У нас движение идет ровно вниз. То есть и камера у нас как будто бы смотрит параллельно Земле. Но конкретно в данном шоте есть такое ощущение, будто бы мы не перпендикулярно Земле опускаемся, а как будто немножко заворачиваем. Таким образом, что и камера смотрит не параллельно не параллельно плоскости Земли, а как будто постепенно наклоняется. Из-за чего это происходит? Из-за того, что мы Землю видим. То есть линия горизонта, вероятнее всего, расположена не там, где она должна была бы быть расположена. Но я скажу на всякий случай, вдруг это для кого-то будет открытием большого секрета. Каждый человек конкретную задачу может воспринять абсолютно по-разному. И нет какого-то универсального правила решения конкретного таска. Вот сколько режиссеров будут, скажем так, давать комментарии к конкретному шоту, вот столько разных шотов и получится. Каждый режиссер будет достигать определенного своего какого-то результата. Поэтому говорить о каких-то стандартах, говорить о том, что вот так правильно, так неправильно, есть физически корректные явления, то есть какие-то физические явления, которые, ну вот так в нашем мире происходят. А есть творческий подход. Творческий подход, он ориентируется на то, чтобы помочь рассказать историю. Если в данной ситуации необходимо это сделать так, принимается решение сделать это так. Вернулись. Okay, Walter. Anything else about this shot?
No, not really. I think it's getting there. I like how her first, like her screen left arm is embedded into the fireball,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the other one is slightly behind it.
Yeah.
It gives it a different scale though, because for the other shots I often more had the idea that it was like a massive fireball, whereas here apparently her arms fit around it almost, right? She has it in
Yes, I see it. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just what you want to tell, like scale wise, but still.
So we shouldn't add a lot of light, a lot of fire on top of screen right hand, right?
Depends on how you want to sell it. I think if you want to sell it as a bigger comet, you bring some of her arm back here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that much, but it's pretty much just if we have her here, I'm drawing in, and she is able to like put it in between her hands. So we have like this ball or something. You have like one hand that goes on top of it, right? And the other one goes behind it.
Yeah.
It must be a fairly small ball. Whereas if you have
correct.
both hands on it, it can be as big as you want, right? We have no idea how big it is.
Yeah.
Whereas, and if you have one behind it, then it must be a fairly small one. Yeah. I'm not sure how big this comet is supposed to be.
So the scale is, you can see it in final music clip.
Thing.
So it's like a 2.5 meters in high.
Yeah, in that case, I think it can work to have one arm behind it.
Yep.
Yeah, because
But
then it
it's
feels more, she can actually like have it in between her arms almost.
yeah, but it's a great comment. Nice. Okay, we finished second part. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in Framestore, we with the Claudia always do like a rocket team. Woo! Yeah. Okay. Third part.
Yeah.
Third part is about questions. So I have few from students, and
Yes.
I'll basically it's the same as for Roman and for Oliver. So I think you already know what will I ask you. So for beginners, for students who just start their career, what will what advice will you give?
Something that for myself works really well, and it's not like a technical or creative even. It's just to have a look at the source material, if there is any. And by source material, I mean like, is there a book? Is there a previous film?
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you're working on a sequel for a movie and you think, well, I mean, in the beginning, everything is exciting, right? Every movie you work on is pretty cool. Um, but even if you're working on something and you think like, yeah, man, it's not really a cool movie,
Mm-hmm.
still try and watch like if there's a part one, or listen to the audiobook. Just get yourself in the story. It makes
Okay.
it so much more fun, I think, to work on something that you know a little bit more about. Like you watch those people on the screen, like actors acting something out. It just makes it loads more fun if you know the names of the characters and what they're actually doing. Uh, like invest yourself into the movie, become a bit more invested.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's one of the things. Another thing is always try to see everything in context.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the beginning, you just get like one shot and you try to make that your best shot. Um, but especially supervisors really like it if you watch it in context, because that's what they do all day, right? They are not trying to deliver a shot; they're trying to deliver a whole movie. So everything needs to work together. So if you have one super nice shot and then the shot after that is super nice as well, but it's like totally different, it doesn't work anyway. So
Yeah.
people will watch it and it doesn't work because it looks different. So always make sure to watch stuff in context. Like just watch the sequence, know what's going on, and try to take that sequence to a new level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Always when someone asks me about career, about started career, I always say that no one should start in the big from the big company. And you said this today that your first company was really small and you had a lot of different tasks. And yeah, I just want to add that it's a really good advice.
Yeah, I that's always what I say, especially now. I've been back to the film academy a few times just to talk with students, and usually when the internship periods come up, I get a few messages from students asking for advice, and that's usually what I tell them as well. Like a company like Framestore or ILM is really really cool, but yeah, doing your internship at a medium-sized company is probably nicer for yourself because you still work on big movies. Maybe not on the like super the most cool sequences of that movie, but still you work on a very cool movie. But at the same time, you have way more room to develop yourself and present yourself as an artist. And also, you usually like the way to the supervisor is a bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So it happens earlier that or it's easier for like a comp soup. Just the connection is a lot. It's way more easygoing, so you can just walk over and ask, for example, like the VFX soup something, and he will like come to your desk and show you stuff.
By the way, there's another question about difficulties, about when you, for example, start working on some shot and you realize that, oh, probably I don't know something, probably this is task that I wouldn't do. So in this situation, like, okay, first of all, did you have that situation in your career, and what should artist do when he has some task that he really doesn't know how to solve?
I had that loads of times, and it's really shitty, but afterwards it's really nice because you learned something new. For example, my first day at Rise, actually, which was they gave me a keying shot. So I thought, okay, I know how to key. This will be fun. And I got this shot, and it was like super defocused.
Oh, okay.
It was someone driving behind the wheel. So it was like a POV of someone driving a car, and you had those hands and the steering wheel and the car, and it was super out of focus. And it was like a bright thing behind it, like a bright green screen. And we wanted like a darker alleyway behind it.
Oh, okay.
So I thought, okay, I know how to key. It looks like an even green screen, so I'm just gonna key it, and then it just didn't work. So I was like, shit. I don't understand why is it not working? I'm doing everything correctly. But I was sitting next to my lead at the time, Petter, who was a compositor from Sweden, who was he's a really nice guy. So what you do then is it's always, at least for me, it was like on my first day, I thought I knew what I was doing, and I couldn't get this simple shot out. So at some point, you do everything that you can try, right? You try different keyers, you try every method that you know. But after a while, you ask the person next to you or someone else in the company, like, hey, have a look at this. How would you approach this? And then they will tell, well, I would probably try this, and then you give that a try. And then maybe you learn something new, and you just you just ask people.
Yeah.
And what I found is, if you ask someone, they pretty much always help you. It's I never really had when I asked something that people said, yeah, fuck off, go find out for yourself or something. That really never happens. At least that hasn't happened to me.
Nice.
And then after a while, you just in Nuke there are so many different ways to do stuff.
Of course.
And you can always stick to your way that works, but you can also try out different ways. So that whenever you get presented with a shot and your way that you usually take doesn't work, you have like a bunch of backup methods, which is really useful, I think. So whenever you got some time on your hands, maybe try to do something like a little bit different, or that's actually quite nice. If you see a nice shot in dailies, for example, that someone else did, what I sometimes do or did, not that often anymore, but still, you can just open up the script that the artist made and go through it, see how they did it. Sometimes it's a massive mess. Sometimes it's really cool. It's always something different because everyone works in a different way.
Yeah.
So that's how you get your backup methods for free, pretty much. Just look through stuff that other people did. And if you don't understand, you can always go over to the artist and say like, hey, I thought your shot looked really cool. Would you mind explaining to me how you did it? And I'm pretty sure that when they have time, they will definitely make some time and sit down and walk you through the script.
Oh, I spent a lot of hours when I came to Framestore. My first project in Framestore was Thor Ragnarok. I spent a lot of times like surfing through all scripts. Okay, this is Hulk. This is Surtur. Okay, Hela. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I
going
totally
to
understand it.
templates, if you don't understand something in a template, just ask the person that made it, like, hey,
Yeah.
why did you do it like this? Because most of the time they have a good reason for it to do it like that. So they tell you, yeah, it was this technical difficulty that we encountered, so we had to do it. And then 2 years later, you have that technical difficulty and you remember, hey, okay, I saw this in the
Yeah.
template.
Yeah.
We can fix it like this. So it's just trying to expose yourself to as much different problems, because at the end you end up with loads of answers for potential problems.
Yep. A few words in Russian. Друзья, добавлю немножко контента. Wouter только что сказал по поводу темплейтов. Например, в рамках Framestore, если мы говорим о работе над какой-то большой секвенцией, ну, вообще, в принципе, над секвенциями, подразумевается, что в рамках одной секвенции несколько шотов, они будут однотипные. То есть одно и то же будут, грубо говоря, композиция. Для того, чтобы каждый скрипт не настраивать отдельно, лид секвенции садится и создает темплейт. И в рамках этого темплейта он учитывает те нюансы, которые могут быть в рамках данного типа шота. И композер, когда уже начинает работать над конкретным шотом, он не с нуля начинает работать, а он заходит в соответствующую папку, берет оттуда этот темплейт, который ему подготовил лид-композер по секвенции, затягивает его к себе в скрипт, нажимает несколько волшебных кнопочек, и, ну, пайплайн так настроен, и все необходимые материалы, камера, сорсы, рендера, lens distortion и прочая история подтягиваются автоматически. То есть большое количество работы, оно выполняется самим лидом в момент настройки этого темплейта. Но это, к слову, о пайплайне и о том совете, который дал Wouter. Yep, and back to English.
Cool. Can I add one more?
Yeah, of course.
One thing I really, really hate is messy scripts. So, like just messy note graphs.
It's like a Star Wars, right? Like
Yeah, I hate it. Diagonal lines or things that are overlapping, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
So I think it's good practice just to keep your scripts tidy.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. Some people, and I mean, they have a point, because it's all about the end result, right? That's what people are going to watch in the cinema. But I think you should always put a bit of care in your Nuke script as well. Don't treat it as something that's like, yeah, we just generate like an output with it and then we throw it away. Try to keep everything tidy. And if you do that from the beginning and you train yourself in keeping your scripts tidy, compositors around you will really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because especially at companies as Framestore, as you definitely know, like shots tend to hop from artist to artist, so they don't necessarily stay with one artist. And it's just horrible if you have to pick something up and it's a spider web. Just
Yeah.
try and keep stuff nice and tidy. And it's also easier for yourself because you really it's just easier to read, so you don't lose control after a while, because sometimes you have like super big comps, and if everything is still quite readable, it's just easier for yourself.
Do you know that situation when composer starts working on shot when template isn't prepared? So like template in the middle of the finish, and when composer works with this shot, he add more template and another template and the fourth template, and at the end when you open the script, you see different pieces of script, and all these pieces are linked, you know. Start
Yeah.
finding, okay, and this one goes not that direction. Yeah, understand you. So next question about site, about Reel, about Vimeo, YouTube.
Mhm.
Is it useful for composer to have own site? What's the difference between YouTube and Vimeo? Why did you select Vimeo? Any advices about marketing stuff for artists? I mean, how to sell yourself?
I think it's not necessary to have a website. I have one, but that was more. I made that one in my third year on the Film Academy when I was looking for an internship.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, yeah, it probably helps if I have a website.
Okay.
I never really. I don't think many people visit my website at all, and especially during job hunt, like looking for a job, I don't think it's a necessity at all. At the time, I mean, I was interested in learning more about building websites as well,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a creative, technical thing, right? It's a bit it design. So I thought, yeah, I probably wanna at least have built one website in my life. So I looked into that kind of stuff just because I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
But no, I don't think it's very necessary.
What software did you use? So was it like a WordPress or something like this?
No, I think I started out with doing some HTML, and then I had Photoshop with some sort of plugin to convert it to Dreamweaver, I think.
Okay.
There was some weird stuff going on. It was pretty much done in Photoshop, and then I linked all the. Yeah, it was a plugin. You had to name all your layers, specific things, and then, for example, a button was like plus and then button or something, and then the software would convert it to a website.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really actually program the website, not at all. But I still was more like making a Photoshop thing and then doing a little bit of coding afterwards.
Okay. So what about Vimeo, YouTube? What's the
I
difference? Why
always,
did you choose Vimeo?
I think there's like a conception about Vimeo being more professional, right?
Okay.
YouTube is more definitely nowadays. It's more just entertainment, and
Yeah.
Vimeo is the creative, high quality work stuff. I'm not sure if that's actually the case, but that was enough for me to say, okay, I'm going to upload it to Vimeo.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yeah, ever since I just upload my work-related stuff to Vimeo.
Nice. Based on your experience, based on experience of your colleagues, what are the most like like mistakes that people always do in comp? I mean, so maybe unpromote, I don't know, distortion after regrain.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think definitely in the beginning, when you start out, it's more technical stuff. So, for example, like a pre-mold, like not fully understanding a pre-mold. And we see that, so that's more like a junior thing, right? Not fully understanding the pre-mold. I think working with deep compositing is a fairly new thing for a lot of people. So you see those earlier, like easier mistakes happening with deep stuff very often, just because people do not fully understand how it works. which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like learning how it works. But sometimes you see these super complicated, weird, deep constructions, and it's like, what's happening here? And then it's just clear that the person that built it, I mean, it works at the end. It's just that they did not fully understand it. Just the way it works, which is not a bad thing again.
Yeah, but be
But
honest with you, if we talk about my students, and they are almost from Russia, Ukraine, so
yeah,
basically from that area where studios don't use deep. So I'm not sure that this information will be useful for them. I
still,
want.
though, I think you can use deep in Nuke as well without having like deep CG renders. Like from your scanline render, you get deep information, so you can use
Yeah.
it. So I think definitely knowing what it is and how it works is a very good thing. Maybe not like a necessity when you start as a junior artist somewhere, but it's definitely something that at some point you want to learn how it works, because it's super powerful. Also, if your studio is very small and you don't render deep. Actually, that graduation film that I showed you, we didn't use deep, but we had a few shots where we had one render coming from Houdini
Okay.
with Wouter, and one render coming from Maya with a character, and we were not sure how to combine them. So we knew about deep, so we decided to render deep from Houdini and deep from Maya, so we could combine it in comp. And there was not even a studio. There was like 10 students doing a film. So I think even for like small studios, there are areas where you can definitely draw on like bigger methods like deep compositing or whatever, just to make your life easier, I think.
Yeah. Maybe about color correction, lens artifacts.
Yeah, that's probably probably a good idea. Yeah, I think the thing you mentioned about lens distortion was a good one, but that's more like a little bit of sloppiness, I think, in general.
You use some word that I don't understand.
It's just like not caring enough to do it technically correct.
Okay.
So you say like, yeah, I actually know I have to undistort before my scan line, but you know what? No one's gonna see that, so I'm just not doing it. Which I don't think is a very good attitude.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, because then someone else picks up your script and it's like, yeah, this is not correct, this is not correct, this is not correct, and it's like accumulating. So in the end, you end up with something, and it is actually noticeable just because you you slammed it together pretty much. So stuff like that. So I always try to do everything correct. Of course, every now and then something slips through, like with everyone. But I think if you keep in mind and try to do everything correct, I think that's very healthy, good attitude.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, next question. Third party plugins.
I knew about this one because you asked that to
Yes.
to the previous guy as well.
So,
Well, the most obvious one is definitely PG Bokeh. I think the defocus plugin, which in the beginning I really hated because it's slow, but now I really love it because it's accurate.
Yeah.
So you don't have to tweak it. That's the thing. Like set defocus, you really have to go in and you have to match stuff. But with a PG Bokeh, you just know, okay, my camera was this f-stop. It's like f-stop of 4. So you type in f-stop 4. You know, okay, it was this camera, so this was the film back. Type in the film back, and you get defocus that is correct. So you don't have to tweak anything. It's just really typing in numbers, and it matches.
Yeah. And do you know that parameter f-stop in Nuke camera? There's like a
Yes.
specific parameter, and I didn't find anything additional to PGBokeh where we can use that parameter in Nuke camera. So it
Yeah,
looks like that parameter was created specifically for PGBokeh. I don't know.
that's a good point. Yeah, I know that. Well, I mean, you can store other information on it and then grab it from somewhere else. But yeah, that's a good point. I don't think any other of the tools use it. No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I I have more plugins.
Yeah. Let's go.
Well, CryptoMat. I don't think that was mentioned before, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool as well. It's not only a Nuke thing, but also a render thing. So you pretty much get your mats for free. So you can
Yeah.
pick stuff on your CG. So for example, you have a render of a car, and you want to change the tires or something.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having to ask the lighter, like, hey, can you give me a mat for the tires? You can just pick it based on the different material. So that's really cool. A Russian one, Keen Tools.
Oh, Roman asked me, like, say that. Sorry. He said that you had a dialogue with him, right? So
Yeah, we spoke a
we
few times over the internet. Yeah,
Yeah, nice.
he makes really great tools. I think Keen Tools, the stuff they do is really cool, like the object checker, especially the face tracker.
Uh-huh.
It's,
It isn't still in beta version, I think.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah, the
sure,
face
but
tracker
yeah.
is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it works really well, so I think that's really cool.
Nice.
At a bigger studio, most of the time, like, you have a tracking department doing stuff for you, but still, yeah, especially like doing a quick track on, for example, a face can be super useful, and it's super easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that one is very nice. And then I've got one last plugin, Eddie for Nuke. Have you heard of it? Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. You can't buy this plugin right now.
Well,
You can't buy it. You use that, but
if you sell your house, you can probably buy a license.
no, I mean you can't buy it right now. It's only for studios.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Why is that?
because it's like a song, Beyonce song. Because no, Rihanna song.
I didn't know.
Eddie for Nuke. I wrote them. I asked them about version to make some review or some kind of this. They said, you know, no.
That's kind of weird. Yeah, we used the Framestore quite a bit on a previous project, and it was really cool. I mean, you used the renders from there as well, I think, right? Yeah.
Try to buy. Go to site. You won't find it.
That's weird, but anyway, it's still a really cool plugin. So
Yeah.
I thought it deserved a place in my list. So yeah, it's a fire solver, so you can do fire in Nuke like you would in Houdini or in any dynamic package.
It's more like a fire/smoke, right?
Yeah, fire and smoke is what it does best. Or actually, the only thing it does.
Yeah. So increase temperature, it's a fire. Decrease temperature, it's a smoke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit more effects driven rather than compy.
Mm-hmm.
So it requires a bit of a different mindset, but it gives you really nice results.
Nice. No, man, I really can't find any link where you can, like a press, buy, that's it.
I just knew that it was really expensive in the beginning, but
4,000.
yeah, it's like as expensive as a Nuke license almost.
4,000. What? Oh, RSP, okay. Yep. That's it. Nice. What we have in addition to that question? Freelance work.
I have never freelanced.
Why? You don't need additional money?
I'm quite busy at work.
You don't have enough time to spend that money, right?
No. No, I haven't really freelanced. I mean, I think in the Netherlands, like just before I went to Method, I worked at another studio, Post Panic in Amsterdam.
No. Sorry.
Which I
Sorry, no, I don't know the studio. I just
okay. Yeah, they do commercials as well. It's a bit more international stuff as well. Like they have Nike and Adidas, like the more the sport brands, stuff like that.
Mhm.
They do commercials for, which is pretty cool work. Yeah, I worked there for I think 3 weeks before I went to Method, but I think officially that was a freelancer. Yeah, but yeah, I don't really have much experience about that stuff.
Okay.
I usually work as a contract worker.
Okay, but do you know any, I don't know, source of freelance from studio, such studio, maybe like Framestore, MPC or something like this? I mean, is it difficult to find freelance here?
I think for the bigger studios, I think it's a little bit harder, right? Because they usually just work with their own contracts.
Yes.
The way they manage everything.
But what do you think? Is it possible to write an email to some small studio and take some freelance from them?
Yeah, I think probably. Yeah, probably more commercial stuff, like shorter.
Commercial.
I think. I mean, this is just a guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I understand. But you know, I think we have some information to share with students, with other people to help them. I don't know, improve their career. Probably.
Yeah.
Just try and let's see.
I think probably you could get some freelance work. As I said, like probably more at smaller studios, I assume, or commercial stuff that goes by really quick because they usually look for freelancers for quick jobs. So that's usually commercials. I think from what I heard, like we have Framestore commercials as well. They don't do film, but they do all the television and commercial stuff. I think there are quite a bit of freelancers there, from what I heard. So that might be easier. So stuff that goes by really quick, because when you're on a film project, you're usually on it for several months. Yeah, usually I think it ranges. At least for me, the projects I worked on ranged from like 2 months to well, Jungle Book was over a year. I was on a movie, so yeah, it's for longer periods. So if they have to get a freelancer for that, it's probably more expensive for them. So yeah, I think you have more chance being hired as a freelancer at smaller studios.
Okay, last question from students. So question is, what do you think about level of compositing of students? So basically, I'm talking about works that you supervised.
Oh, that we just saw. I thought it was really, yeah. I think I quite like that everything looked different in a way. Like everyone gave their own touch to it, because I assume that they all know where the material is coming from, right? So the easy solution would be to go to YouTube, look at the final, and then just replicate that. But I think everyone did a really good job of really trying out new stuff. Like some people doing heat haze, other people doing like lens dirt. Yeah, so I think that's a really good skill to have. Like try and add your own value to it, not just try and match everything. But if you have a good idea and you think, well, I think this shot would benefit from having lens dirt or having a bit of camera shake, having a bit of heat distortion, then go for it and add it. If the supervisor doesn't like it, you can always remove it, and always make sure to do the things they ask for first. But then,
Of course.
but then it's really good, I think, to add your own thing in there, just to try and make it cooler. Because at least at the end, that's what you're there for, to make the shots really nice and make them work. So if you have several tricks to do that, then yeah, I think that's good, and I think that showed from the material that we looked at, that everyone really tried to add something to the shot.
Yep.
It was, yeah, I think that was really successful.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Few questions from chat.
Yeah, go for it.
So, what's next? What will you learn? What will you improve in your career, in your knowledge, in your skills?
I think with experience you just get a better comper, like you train your eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that in a few years it's just easier. Like the more work you do, the easier it is to look at an image and say, okay, this and this would make it cooler, or this is wrong. It doesn't work 100% because of this. So I think that's something I hope to improve more in. Like every compositor, I think, like you just keep learning like that. Other stuff, I'm still learning Python more, like adding new things to my programming skills there, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like keep evolving the whole time, learning, picking up new stuff when it comes out. I'm quite heavily working on automating things right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like some taking tools and try to make them as to automate as much as possible, so people can really focus on the creative work and take all the technical, boring, repetitive stuff, and you just wrap that up in some sort of automated system. So and finding a nice balance between the technical and more creative stuff is something I'm doing a lot of at the moment. So learning a lot of new stuff there. Yeah, I think most of that stuff. As I mentioned, like the movie I'm currently working on is my first show as a lead compositor, so that comes with a whole different skill set. It's more like managing people as well, and combining that with the technical side of compositing. So I think there's quite a lot of ground to that's to cover for me there, like learning new things there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, but actually we can say that the same skills should be, like everyone should improve that skills. I mean, it's about compositing.
There's always something new to learn, I think. So you just keep learning. Yeah.
Yep.
I see that question in the chat. I
do
not use After Effects on my job. Just Nuke.
Okay. But can motion design skills help for compositors? What do you think?
I think you have a bunch of, like, this is compositing, right? And then you have a bunch of disciplines that almost touch upon compositing, but it's not completely. compositing, like for example, also lighting or different things, and also motion graphics. And I think everything that's like on the side of compositing can really help a compositor, because it always happens every now and then that you get something that's a little bit more towards, for example, motion graphics, or a little bit more towards effects, or so it's always very useful, I think, to be knowledgeable about those other things rather than only know hardcore visual effects compositing.
Yeah, and it's always based on a department where you work in. For example, if this commercial, right, or is the film?
Yeah, that makes a lot of difference, especially in film. You're really like put in one department, so you really, okay, you're a compositor, so you are doing the compositing, and he is the lighter, so he is doing the lighting. But if you're working commercials, from what I've heard, at least, I have not worked in commercials, but it's a bit more, if the lighter needs some help and you know how to light, then maybe you can like help out, or they need someone who can do motion graphics, but they have this compositor that also knows how to do motion graphics, so he can do it, so they don't have to hire a new person to do the motion graphics. So yeah, that's you make yourself very valuable if you know more than one thing, because you can, it's easier for you to help out.
Okay.
When the need's there. Yeah.
Yeah. Next question: how much time should takes for average? I mean, what
Per
is
shot.
the average time? Yeah, for one shot.
It's really hard to say. It really
course.
depends on the but I would say on average probably 2 weeks, maybe.
2 weeks. And how many shots can one comp in one project?
In one project?
Yeah.
Oh, that also really depends on the project.
Typical.
Yeah, I think probably around 10 is like a regular answer, I think.
For example, 10 shots, and we are talking about a project where we have 300 shots, right?
Yeah, I think something like that. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Maybe I can say that probably one shot can take much longer time in average, but again, sometimes you have shot like this pill done. Sometimes you start working with the shot at the start of project and you finish it at the end of project. So for example, 4 months, 5 months. It's based on difficult and how many elements should you add, what story in this shot, and
also whether they are similar or not. For example, you might be working on a movie which has like an entire sequence that's pretty much the same setup. It's like CG environment with CG characters, and every shot is supposed to look similar. In the end, like you spend loads and loads of time developing one shot, and then once they're happy with the shot, you just copy paste it.
Ding.
Yeah. It's like crashing them out.
Can we say that we have enough time to comp shot for final result, for beautiful final result?
Yeah, I think on average we usually do. It depends on the studio as well, and whether it's very CG heavy or very comp heavy. But I think in general, I would say that I have enough time. You always want like 2 extra days, right? But
yeah,
you can always go on forever. Like if you get 2 extra days, you want another 2 days. There's always stuff to improve, and at some point you just need to stop because it's not actually contributing to the story anymore. Like maybe your pixels, like those 3 pixels in the corner, will be better, but the story the shot tells is still the same, and that's in the end what counts. People go to the cinema to watch a story and not to watch your pixels.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So at some point you just need to stop and
Yeah.
and it's good enough.
Yeah, of course. Last two questions. First
Sure.
one, if you want to add something to your shot, something specific, like lens dirt or something else that can affect other shots. In this situation, what will you do, or how everything is going on when you decide to do that? I mean, will you talk with the supervisor, or like, for example, you're not lead, but you're a regular comper. What should you do?
I would first make like have a look at how much work it would be. Like
Mm-hmm.
if adding something would cause for like 10 other people to also start doing the work. In that case, I would talk to my lead first. Would say like, hey, I think this is cool. Here's an example. It looks really cool. What do you think? Should we show this? Should we, as they usually say, it's like, should we open this can of worms? And show it to the supervisor because maybe he likes it and he wants it in every shot.
Yeah.
So I would talk to my lead first and see what he or she thinks. If they're cool with it, I would just submit it to dailies, because then it comes in front of the supervisor and you say, hey, I added this. It's like an experiment. What do you think of it? And then just let the supervisor make the call.
Okay.
Because if I think it's a really cool idea, then then you also have the responsibility, I think, if you add like a cool thing, that you wrap it up in a nice plug-and-play template or setup, so that if you have a cool thing, for example, like a nice lens dirt setup,
Mm-hmm.
that you can hand it to other people and it pretty much works straight away, and not like, hey, I added this cool thing, you need to edit as well. You now need to spend 2 days making that effect, because that's screwing your colleagues over. It's just like, hey, I added this cool thing, here's a setup, just put it in your comp and it works. Then it's cool, I think. So you have some sort of responsibility if you do that as well.
Of course. And the last one is the question in chat. You can read it by yourself.
The last one?
Yeah, last one. Do you know about all necessary parts? This one.
Of the shot before you start, or could they be added by the director supervisor in progress? I mean, huge parts like big explosions that ruin your work. Sometimes you get a surprise at the end. It's like, actually it happens quite often. Usually you can have a look at when the comper starts on a shot. You need to consider that loads of other people already working on it for quite a while. You have like animators, usually there's previs, which is really old, but then we have like animators, there's like lighters that have been working on it. Layout, usually there's like an environment team as well. So there's already loads of people that have a good idea of what's happening in your shot.
Mm-hmm.
So usually all those ideas are already thought of. But then it happens quite often that when you do a comp, the supervisor thinks, okay, now I see everything in context and we have every element in there. I think we're missing some stuff, so we need to add something.
Yeah.
Which is not usually like, as the example in the question, a big explosion or anything, because I think the more you work on shots, the more you realize that it's not about shots, but it's about, as I said, like getting the story across. Yeah. So every shot has a purpose. Like this shot is about seeing the explosion, and this shot is about seeing the emotion of the girls, like pushing the asteroid, for example, right? Every shot needs to have a purpose in the movie. So usually a big explosion is the purpose of a shot, so you don't add that afterwards. But yeah, it happens quite often that they decide to add like an extra element.
Great. Man, that's it. We
Cool.
finished. Yeah, we
I
finally finished.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your advices. It was awesome. I really like it. I hope everyone liked too. Anything? What do you want to add?
No, no, really. As I said, I really enjoyed it. I hope other people liked it as well.
Great, great,
Yeah,
man. Thanks a
that's it.
lot. So till tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Cheers.
See ya. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Ну вот как-то так. Очередное занятие в рамках курса Nuke «Студийный композ с профессионалами» подошло к концу. Друзья, у вас была возможность наблюдать, как у нас проходит третье занятие каждого блока. Ну, собственно, как-то так. Каждое третье занятие у нас новый композер, и я все время стараюсь приглашать кого-то нового. То есть не один и тот же композер, ну, например, я, да, каждый дейлис рассказываю о том, что, ну, вот это нужно здесь поправить, это нужно вот тут поправить. Нет, идея заключается в том, чтобы показать, что разные комперы воспринимают картинку по-разному. Чем больше мнений вы соберете, тем, ну, наверное, шире изображение у вас в сознании будет формироваться. Поэтому я считаю такой подход к обучению очень эффективным. Ну, там уже кто как усваивает информацию. На практике получается так, что не только ваша работа разбирается, но и работа других студентов, и вы тут же сразу получаете, скажем так, рассказ о том, какие ошибки вы могли бы совершить, либо же в каком направлении вы еще могли посмотреть. Я очень надеюсь, что сегодняшнее почти трехчасовое занятие вам было интересно. Если есть какие-то мнения, пожелания, рекомендации и прочие советы, пишите на Фейсбуке в личку, будем общаться там. Вот такая вот история. По поводу вопроса данного курса в дальнейшем, пока что 100% сказать не могу, но планируется. Планируется еще один запуск данного курса, поэтому если вам интересно поработать вот так с комперами, послушать их фидбэк по поводу вашей работы, добро пожаловать. Еще раз пишите в Facebook, в личку. На этом все. До новых встреч на просторах YouTube. Всем пока.